Everyone, myself Dr. Saiti, Team MDS Conquer. So the next topic for your MDS paper 1 finish line is on space infections. So it's actually a very important question that can be asked in your basics paper 1. So especially as an essay they can ask. So the following contents which I am going to describe in this particular presentation, just make a note of all the contents and the important headings that will be really fetching for you. Apart from that, also note those diagrams which you have to incorporate exactly in the respective content. That also if you can make a note, it will be very useful. So it's actually an important question that can be asked as an essay. So let's start the discussion. So here comes the various contents. So essay questions, it's better to write the contents. So these contents you have to put forward in your paper. Next, you can start writing the introduction by defining the infection. Since its question is asked as space infection, you can give this particular definition of infections as given here. Okay. So next, you can write the various infections in the orofacial and the neck region. So etiology based on the origin, it could be odontogenic, traumatic, implant or reconstructive surgery, or arising from a contaminated needle punctures, and also secondary to the oral malignancies, or it could be based on the causative organisms, but that could be the viral, bacterial or the fungal infections. So next, coming to the evolutionary stages, the stages of the odontogenic infection, it is like inoculation followed by cellulitis followed by abscess and resolution. So this is taken from the Topazian textbook of the oral and maxillofacial infections. So you can highlight that because it's a very good textbook and you can give this as a reference. So do make a note of this reference, students. So next, you can give this tabular differences between the cellulitis and abscess. So if you have time and if you can put forward this as a tabular form, the presentation will be definitely attractive to the examiner. So the basic differences between the cellulitis and abscess you can just put forward like this as shown in this table. Okay. So next, coming to the infection. So there are 4 cardinal signs of infection. As you know, it is rubor, tumor, color, dolor and the loss of function. Apart from that, you have the fever and the lymphadenopathy. So the cardinal signs of infection you have to write. So as you know, you can just put forward these cardinal signs. Then you have to give the most frequent pathogens in orofacial infections as described here. So no need to write the percentages exactly, you can just name the organisms, that's enough. So next, coming to the spread of oral infections. So it could be directly to the tissues or by lymphatics or by the bloodstream, and the factors influencing is the general and the local factors. So the general factors include the host resistance, also it could be the virulence of the microorganisms and the compromised host defenses, or the combination of all the above. And besides that, the local factors includes anatomic barriers. The infection follows the pathway of least resistance. So this is a very important point which you need to highlight. Okay, even it's as an essay question also, it's very important. So what is the major local factor for the spread of infection is because the infection always choose a path of least resistance to spread. So that is the main thing that you have to answer even in your viva. So do make a note of this point and highlight this point. And also it could depend on the teeth and the opening positions, root opening positions, attachments of the respective muscles, etc. So these are the various general and the local factors. Next, the pathway of the odontogenic infection. So this is the pathway of the odontogenic. So pulpal causes are actually more frequent. So it can, when the pulpal invasion occurs by the bacteria, inflammation and edema occurs, which causes the lack of the blood supply, followed by which there is venous congestion or avascular necrosis. That causes a reservoir for the bacterial growth, and because of which that invasion of the bacteria occurs into the surrounding bone. So this is how it spreads, the pathway of the odontogenic infection occurs. So if you put this as a good flow chart, it will be really good as a presentation point of view that will attract the examiner. And later you have to write this progression of the odontogenic infection of how a simple acute dental infection can cause a fistula, like it can lead to cause of fistula, cellulitis, abscess, osteomyelitis, cerebral infarctions, deep spatial infections and also bacteremia. So exactly if you could represent like this and give a little explanation, that will be really attractive and also fetching for your marks. Okay. Later, now you have entered into the main heart of the exam or of the paper, that is the space infections. Okay. So far it's just like you have to increase the length of your answer, as well as you have to explain the examiner that you have directly, you didn't jump, you have given a good start to your answer. So that like that you have to explain, you have to give an explanation, you have to give introduction, you have to give the cardinal signs, you have to give the general and the local factors and how the path of the infection spreads and the various organisms. So this is how you have to start the answer, and then you have to enter to the main answer. So the flow should be there. So the flow should be continuous, so that it will be really useful for you, as well as it will be like the examiner will feel, yes, you have gone through the entire subject and you have presented that in a paper very well. Okay, so now coming to the main heart of the space infections. So that Shapiro has defined these facial spaces as the potential spaces between the layers of the fascia. So you can put forward this diagram, it is very important, showing the prevertebral, the retropharyngeal and the danger spaces. So this diagram, if you can put forward, it is really helpful for you. Later, the main thing and very important thing is the classification of the facial spaces. So it could be primary or secondary. So primary is direct spread, whereas secondary is indirect spread. So again, primary maxillary spaces are there and primary mandibular spaces are there, as you can see in the classification, and then the secondary facial spaces. So this classification has to fall in there. Okay, it is very, very important. Later, if you can draw this diagram, so I have already highlighted the one important spaces with the yellow marker. So those spaces, if you can put forward there, that will be very much helpful. So you can draw the simple diagram showing these are the secondary spaces, whereas these are the primary spaces of the mandibular, sublingual, submandibular and submental. So try to draw this diagram. So wherever you can draw, it is better you draw a diagram, because essay question they do expect 1 or 2 good diagrams, so that they can simply glance and they can turn over. Okay. So next, coming to the primary spaces, so you need to first name those spaces. Later you have to describe every space in detail. So every space you need to explain the main, like the source of infection, the respective signs and symptoms of that particular space infection. So vestibular space, we know it is between the oral vestibular mucosa and nearby to the muscles of facial expression. And then source of infection, as you can see, it could be incisors, it could be canines, or it could be premolar. So this is how you have to write. Next, coming to the palatal space, so it is subperiosteal space of the palate. So it is painful because of rich innervation, and the source of infection could be the upper posterior teeth or the lateral incisor. So this is how you have to write. Next, coming to the infraorbital space, so from here onwards almost all the spaces will have the respective boundaries. So it is better you write all the boundaries superiorly, inferiorly, anteriorly, posteriorly, what all the boundaries are there for that particular respective spaces. It is better you write, because that is how you have to explain your answer, and that is the main scoring part of the answer of the space infections. Okay. So and the signs or clinical features, we know there will be swelling, there will be drooping of the angle of the mouth, there will be obliteration of the nasolabial fold, and also there will be periorbital edema. So these is how you have to write the infraorbital space. So the boundaries as well as the respective clinical features you need to mention. So again, coming to the next is the buccal space. So these boundaries, as you can see here, so you have to put forward those boundaries, and then the contents which are present within the buccal space, like the Stenson duct and all that, you have to write. So like that you can increase the length of your answer. Next, submental space, again the boundaries, like the superiorly mylohyoid muscle, inferiorly the deep cervical fascia, platysma, and laterally the anterior belly of digastric. Okay, the contents include the lymph nodes and the jugular vein. Source of infection is from the mandibular incisors or from the submandibular space. So it is submental, right? So below the lower anteriors it usually occurs. So like that you have to write. Next, sublingual space. So it is bilateral V-shaped space, and again these boundaries, as you can see, you have to write. So what all, wherever boundaries are there, you have to write, because that is the main content of the space infections answer. Okay. So do note all the boundaries which are presented here. Next, coming to the source of infection for the sublingual is the premolars, the periodontal infection of the incisors, the lingual infections also from the infection of the Wharton's duct, and communications anteriorly to the submental space and posteriorly to the submandibular space. Okay, so these are the communications, and these are the various clinical features. So when it comes to the mandible, there will be raising of the tongue, and also brawny induration or the erythematous tender swelling of the floor of the mouth, and the mouth will be left open, along with dysphagia and dyspnea are the various clinical features. So these you have to put forward. Coming to the last is the submandibular space, and again you can see this as the boundaries. So the anteriorly by anterior belly of digastric, posteriorly posterior belly of digastric, superiorly by lower border of the mandible, inferiorly by digastric tendon, medially by the platysma investing fascia, laterally by the mylohyoid. So you can just draw this diagram which is there here and label it, and the contents you can draw the lymph nodes and the respective facial artery and vein. Next, this is a submandibular infection. So the sources could be the second and the third molar, and sometimes even the first molar, and also adjoining the sublingual and the submental spaces. Okay. So this is how you have to write the primary spaces. Now coming to the secondary spaces. So these again you have to name it, all the secondary space you have to name first, and then again you have to enter to the individual secondary space. So again the same thing, every space infection you have to write the respective boundaries and the contents, and also if possible any clinical features associated. So every space I have already clearly given the boundaries and the contents. You can just make a note of that, and you can draw this diagram. Appears to be very simple when you can draw this diagram. Okay. Next, pterygomandibular space, these are the boundaries as you can see. Okay. And here the diagram is also very simple. Here you can see the pterygomandibular space which is in the bottom. So here is the pterygomandibular space as you can see, and then the source of infections you can write. So this diagram also it appears to be simple, and also it has other spaces also, other secondary spaces like the superficial temporal, deep temporal space, infratemporal space is also there. So you can put forward this diagram. It appears to be easy to draw, so it's better you draw this diagram. Okay, showing the muscles and the respective spaces nearby that. Okay. So the clinical features, again it does not cause any external swelling because it is in the pterygomandibular area. There is no external swelling, but since the muscles of mastication will be affected there will be limitation in the mouth opening, and also dysphagia, medial displacement of the lateral wall of the pharynx, and the uvula is displaced to the unaffected site. So since the pterygomandibular space there is various attachments of many muscles, so there will be limitation in the mouth opening. Like that you have to explain the clinical features. So coming to the temporal space, again these are the various boundaries, and it is secondary to the involvement of the pterygomandibular and the infratemporal. So again you can draw this diagram where you can see the superficial deep temporal spaces, and submatricic space also is there. So it's difficult to draw, you can leave it, the others you can draw. Next, infratemporal, again the clinically it shows extraoral swelling over the temporomandibular joint behind the zygomatic process as you can see in this picture, and intraorally swelling over the tuberosity area will be there. So especially in the TMJ joint the swelling will be there, and the source of infection is the maxillary second and the third molars, local anesthesia infections, also neighboring spaces. Okay. So this is again the various boundaries of the infratemporal space, the diagram which we have already shown there, the same diagram. So you can draw it once and highlight the labeling. So both you can write the pterygomandibular followed by infratemporal, and you can end up with one diagram. So these two spaces have a common diagram, right? So you can draw one diagram and you can highlight the labeling there. Okay. So again you can write the boundaries and the contents of this respective space which are shown here. And coming to the parotid space, the same thing. So the source of infection is the Stenson duct, the parotid fascia, the submasseteric pterygomandibular and lateral pharyngeal spaces. Okay, so the coming to the parapharyngeal space, the lateral and the retropharyngeal spaces can be infected by the spread of odontogenic infection. So the lateral pharyngeal space is actually a cone shaped space. Okay, the base is uppermost at the base of the skull, and apex is towards the greater horn of the hyoid bone. Next, the retropharyngeal space, you can draw this diagram, then again you can give its boundaries, and you can give its clinical features like dysphagia, dyspnea, and bulging of the posterior wall of the pharynx, and the source of infection could be the nasal and the pharyngeal infections in the children, dental infections are also lateral pharyngeal space. So this is how you have to write the individual spaces. Okay. Now coming to the important part is a quinsy, which is a peritonsillar abscess. So it is Mainly you have to highlight the clinical feature of having a ruffled peculiar ruffled hot potato in the mouth. So, this is main thing you have to write, and the speech difficulty. So, clinical features and the source of infection you have to mention. So, it is a localized infection which is present between the tonsil and the superior constrictor muscle between the anterior and the posterior pillar of the facies. So, this is how you have to write the quinsy or the peritonsillar abscess. So, then this diagram will be really fetching to score the mark. So, you can draw the simple teeth and you can give a brief description of the spaces which are associated with that teeth. Okay, it is very simple to draw. So, it is very much attractive to the examiner. So, directly if you draw the same as given here, it will be really fetching for you. So, do draw this and do give the labeling respectively as given here. Okay. So, coming to the last is the management. So, you have to end up with the management, students. So, the indications for the incision and drainage is the diagnosis first of all, and then the infection in the facial spaces that pretends the airway, chest orbit and the intracranial extension. So, when you have to give the incision and drainage is given by Flynn. Next, purpose of incision and drainage. So, you have to get rid of the toxic bacteria first of all, and then you have to decompress the edematous tissue, and then you have to allow the profusion of the blood having the antibiotic and the defensive factors, and finally you have to increase the oxygenation. So, how this you have to write. Next, the complications of the head and neck infections, you have to write all these. Okay. Then you have to end up with Ludwig's angina, very important. So, Ludwig's angina is very important. So, the 3 F's of Ludwig angina includes the fear, the fatal and the fluctuant, which is very rare. So, Ludwig's angina is like involvement of the toxic or it is nothing but the firm acute toxic cellulitis of submandibular, sublingual and bilaterally, and also the submental spaces. So, all the spaces are being involved, and if it is not treated, it can cause death to the patient. So, it is very important complication. You have to write the Ludwig's angina. Okay, and you can give a detailed description of how it is given here. Okay. Next, how do you examine all this extraorally, the intraorally? So, what all you look for, you can give as per the description that is given here. And then the principles of the treatment, which includes early diagnostics, the maintenance of the airway, and also the extraction of the offending teeth, and also giving the antibiotic therapy and the surgical drainage and the decompression of the facial spaces. So, this is how you have to write the principles of the treatment. Okay, so this is how you have to start the answer. In the middle part, you have to write the individual spaces, the primary and the secondary with the individual boundaries, the contents, the source of infections and the clinical features wherever required. Then you have to go for the peritonsillar abscess or quinsy. Then you have to write the management part, incision and drainage, and later you have to write the Ludwig's angina. It's very important, and then the basic principles of the treatment followed by conclusion and references. This is how you have to end up your answer. So, it is a perfect flow from starting to beginning. If you can write like the way described here along with the diagrams wherever required, and along with the flow charts, along with the tabular forms wherever required, it will be really helpful for you. Thank you, students. Thank you.